Hello everyone. We'll start the session now. Welcome to this session of the talk series. I'll very quickly introduce Mr. Krishna Kumar Sinha, his advisor Finovista, and Mr. KK Sinha holds a background in mechanical engineering with a specialization in production engineering, and he joined the Ministry of Commerce and Industry as a technical officer and served for 35 years in various capacities, including roles in the automobile industry desk and export promotion cell. The last 16 years of his career were particularly significant, during which he led foreign direct investment promotion efforts from the Americas and CIS countries. During this time, he gained extensive exposure to FDI policy and the analysis of FIPB cases. He was also actively involved in shaping manufacturing and industrial policy, making a notable contributions in these areas. Krishna sir, welcome, and you may take the session forward from here.
Thank you, Satyam. I hope I'm clearly audible to all of you.
Yes.
Okay. So, first of all, I express my happiness and pleasure, and it's indeed a privilege to welcome the expert speakers who have joined, agreed to, given their consent to join the panel discussion, and who are already here, and as well as other participants who have joined this discussion. And this one is the fourth session, fourth phase of the talk series. And we have already completed 3 phases. We are into 4th phase, and this is the 4th session of the 4th phase. So in a way, since each phase has 12 sessions, so we are 12 into 3, 36 plus 4. So we are exactly on the 40th session. Very successful so far in attracting all stakeholders as well as participants, those interested in promotion of electric cooking in India and abroad. Many of those who joined are expert, and those who listen to this series for raising their awareness on the subject. And for your information, those who have joined, attended earlier, that this program is being organized by Modern Energy Cooking Services, MECS program of United Kingdom, through its in-country partner Finovista, for which I am an advisor. And this talk series was launched in the year 2022, the first phase. And we are now 40th, as I said earlier. Now, today's topic, the discussion, would be on the topic demand side of institutional cooking in India. As the topic itself suggests, the discussion aims to explore the demand side of the institutionally cooking in India and the kind of strategic planning and support needed through innovative financing models and subsidies to make the transition financially viable for the institution. Now, in general, thanks to the effort of MECS, Finovista in the country, there is a growing acceptance in the country for the need for clean energy transition for cooking purposes in the country. And but unfortunately, or its adoption, the adoption of electric cooking across most of our institutions so far remains much lower than desired. Even in household it is limited, but at least as a secondary medium, secondary cooking methods, it is there already in household, especially in the middle class and the big cities. But accepted by institution is of special importance, because that will accelerate or scale up the demand of this, will spread the word about the benefits that we get from these electric cooking, and finally it will lead to a wider adoption of electric cooking in the country, both household and institution. So adoption by institution is very critical and important, and Finovista, along with MECS, has been engaged with various stakeholders at the state level as well to adopt the electric cooking. Now, if we look at the most of the institutions and their kitchens, I mean, they continue to rely on traditional fuels. Of course, LPG is used widely, which is relatively cleaner, but not totally clean fuel. But many places you will find firewood, biomass, coal being used. Now, this is why they are still using that kind of fuel is due to perceived reliability. They feel convenient to it. They know it works, or cost effectiveness for them, or the operational familiarity which I mentioned about. However, as we are aware, these fuels come with long-term environmental, health, and operational cost. These are well established. I don't have to repeat those things. I mean, it has adverse health impact on those who are engaged in cooking within a kitchen, due to indoor air pollution. But these have been overlooked by institution. The, the benefits that the society gets are also enormous in terms of public health, a woman's education, or their productivity, or even ultimately our planet's environment. So these are the issues. Now, in the Indian context, the institutional cooking broadly covers hotels, commercial establishment, temple kitchens. Many of our temples have very large kitchen running 24 hours. School feeding program such as midday meal scheme, community kitchens like Akshay Patra, or government canteens also, like for example, railways have canteens all over the country. So these, along with the hospitals, and last but not the least important is the anganwadis run, because that is where if we adopt it, it will help in faster, wider adoption by giving the benefit to the children and to the women who work there, and that message will certainly spread faster for as regards the benefit of the electric cooking. However, the demand side of the institutional cooking has remained a bit suppressed, I would say, for a given set of reasons which needs to be addressed. By integrating modern electric appliances like induction cook stoves or electric pressure cookers, these kitchen would be able to streamline their operation. Not only that, they will also prioritize the health and well-being of their patrons. In line with Go Electric campaign, the National Efficient Cooking Program, NECP of EESL, known as Energy Efficiency Services Limited, has focused on deploying energy efficient induction cook stove and has also offered financial incentives to support the integration of renewable energy for cooking purpose. So that is going to definitely help in the near future for adoption by institutions in their kitchen. And now, Modern Energy Cooking Services and Finovista are also actively engaged, as I mentioned earlier, with the nodal agency of the states in India to promote electric cooking in institutions like anganwadis, government school, and like. However, for a successful mass adoption of electric cooking in institutions, creating demand in the clean cooking domain is critical to make it financially viable and for a sustainable basis. This session thus will focus on the needs and ways to stimulate demand for electric cooking across institutional cooking kitchens. Now, today we are very lucky to have a set of very eminent experts who have kindly agreed to join this panel discussion and participate. They will be sharing their ideas and suggestions based on their very rich experience. And we are equally very lucky to have Dr. Nick Rousseau from Modern Energy Cooking Services, who has agreed to moderate the discussion today. And the discussion will definitely bring out more ideas which would be helpful. And let me also introduce Dr. Nick Rousseau. Dr. Nick has over 20 years of experience of working in UK government. His final role was Head of International Innovation Strategy at the Department of Business Innovation and Skills. Dr. Nick has led the innovation strand of the Newton program, very famous one, and government to government policy dialogue. Nick's consultancy, Unconventional Connections, focuses on innovation collaboration, including work funded by DFID on harnessing the UK's strength in clean energy technology to increase access to clean energy in Africa and Southeast Asia. Nick has a personal interest in sustainable solution to local and global food-related challenges. In 2015, he set up the Woven Network, UK-based network for those working on insect protein. That's a very interesting, another interesting subject. Nick holds degrees, Bachelor of Arts, Master in Science, and PhD degree in Psychology from the reputed University of UK, namely Cambridge, Loughborough, and Sheffield. And his study has focused on psychology and user-centered system design. Within the MECS project, Nick is one of the international liaison managers, especially for India. So welcome, Dr. Nick, and it is time to hand over to him to take forward the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, very clearly.
Great, thank you. So, very pleased to be moderating this discussion. It's a fascinating topic and one that I think needs increasing interest and attention from the community. Within the MECS programme, we've got a number of strands that are looking at institutional cooking in many different settings, and you'll be hearing about some of those shortly from Beryl. My role in MECS, as Mr. Sinha said, is to lead the work in India with Finovista, and I'm actually in Delhi right now. We've just dashed across the city to get to this event, so I'm very pleased to be here. We have a very distinguished panel of people who are working in this area with very different perspectives, so I think it'll be a fascinating session. What I want to do is to encourage everyone who is on the list, on the delegates list, to put their name and who they are and a little bit of introduction and maybe their email address in the chat so that we can all see who is there. And if you are looking to meet someone or to connect, then you can use that to help you to do that. But also to use the chat to raise any questions or topics or respond to the panelists, so we can make this interactive. So we've got 4 panelists, and I'll introduce each one of them in turn and invite them to give an opening statement, and then hopefully that will lead to some comments in the chat, and we can have some interaction and Q&A subsequently. I will first of all introduce Dr. R. Harikumar, who is the Director of EMC Kerala, the Energy Management Centre of the Government of Kerala. It's a body that we're working increasingly closely with, as Kerala is very much at the forefront of introducing electrification and electric cooking. He is a mechanical engineering graduate with a postgraduate degree in energy conservation and a PhD in energy management. And he brings over 32 years of experience in energy efficiency and renewable energy. Dr. Harikumar has played a key role in implementing national energy initiatives in Kerala, including the Energy Conservation Building Code and Standards and Labelling programs. Notably, he helped launch the landmark Suar program, targeting 1,000 megawatts of solar power by 2022. So, Dr. Harikumar, I'm going to hand over to you and invite you to tell us about the work that you're doing in Kerala on institutional cooking.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible? Hope I'm audible, right?
Indeed you are, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, thank you. In 2021, World Environment Day, that is June 5th, the Kerala government launched its Go Electric campaign, mainly focusing on promoting electric vehicles, electric cooking, and industrial electrification, particularly taking note of our target of 2050 to become carbon neutral, 20 years ahead of Government of India's target of getting carbon neutral by 2070. Now our strategy is to replace the fossil fuel to the level maximum possible, and then do that energy service with electricity and generate or procure that electricity from the green energy sources. Now, as part of this initiative, we have launched the electric cooking program in the state. And when I talk about electric cooking, we need to understand a little bit about the Kerala electricity scenario also. We buy about 70% of our electricity requirement from outside the state, and only 30% we generate internally, that is captive within the state. And those 30% which we generate internally are 100% renewable energy through hydro, solar, and wind. We do not have any thermal power stations or even nuclear power stations. And seeing the electric scenario, we have a little bit of strain in our managing the peak load. That means from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Our requirement we are not able to manage through our internal generation, or even sometimes we find it difficult to manage it by buying from outside also. Therefore, when we thought that we should go for electric cooking, and we then identified that our social structure, if you see, husband and wife goes for job, and they come back and start their cooking in the night by about 7 o'clock in the evening, and it coincides with the peak demand. Therefore, we thought that to start with, let us focus on institutions where the cooking doesn't coincide with the peak demand time, that is 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. So we started our electric cooking campaign in anganwadis. That is the first school where the small kids are taken to. So Kerala has got 33,115 anganwadis, and out of this we have completed electric cooking in about 2,800 plus, almost 10% of the anganwadis we could cover. We could replace the LPG fuel with the electric cooking, and through our intensive exercise, we found that 1,500 watt or 1.5 kilowatt electric induction cooker is most suitable to the anganwadis, taking note of its menu and the time they can devote for cooking. And we have given them 6 numbers of different types of induction cook stove friendly utensils also to take care of the cooking requirement. Now this 2,800 plus we have done through our state and central government funds, and now recently Government of Kerala has encouraged us or approved for us to go for CSR, corporate social responsibility funds, to cover the other rest of anganwadis also. Meanwhile, we have about 12,000 schools in Kerala, and many of them have about more than 200 students. And we have selected one school which is northern part of Kerala to try electric cooking, where they feed noon meal to about 500 students. There, instead of induction cook stoves, we resorted to electric boilers, and then we generated steam, then through steam jacketed vessels and even through direct injection of steam for cooking rice, we converted their entire kitchen from LPG and a little bit of firewood as a secondary fuel to completely electric, with a 25 kilowatt rooftop solar power plant also. This 25 kilowatt rooftop solar power plant take care of the electricity requirement for the electric cooking apparatus and the lighting and ventilation requirement of the school also. So that school has been recognized as the first 100% renewable energy operated school in the state. Now, we could also involve the local self-government organization, the district panchayat, as well as the member of the legislative assembly, to provide his local development fund for this initiative. Therefore, we could make it as a very participatory in nature, and we have made a case study out of it. And with that, we are roping in other schools in the state to get it converted to electric cooking. The business volume, if you take, it is quite large. We have about 10,000 schools which can go for electric cooking. Now, we would also like to experiment or try out large-scale induction cook stoves in the schools also, and to test the efficacies or efficiency level between the electric boiler on steam-based cooking and then this induction cook stoves also. That probably with the MECS collaboration, we'll be able to do it in the coming near future. Now we are moving into having piloted it in anganwadis and schools. We are also now moving towards commercial hotels and restaurants for converting their cooking from firewood LPG predominantly and a little bit of firewood as a secondary fuel to 100% electricity. And we would also like to explore the possibility of generating this electricity through rooftop solar power plants. And here we are looking at certain technological solutions, the most appropriate ones to try out this particular in the different categories of the hotels and restaurants, starting from micro, small, medium, and large hotels. Kerala being a tourist destination, we have large number of hotels and restaurants which can get converted to electric cooking. In fact, what we would like to get, or based on our experience, the suggestion what we would like to, or the strategy what we would like to move forward is not through subsidy. We do not want to promote this through subsidy. We want to promote this by identifying the technological solutions, not one technology. It can be different technologies or the different makes and models of cook stoves like EPC, electric pressure cooker, different types of induction cookers, different types of electric boilers, like that. So we have to identify the most efficient different types of technologies or models and makes. Then we want to pilot it using our funds or utilizing the technical assistance provided by MECS. And then once this is done, we can, through awareness programs, we are quite confident that this proliferation will take place in Kerala. And we are very confident because without any subsidy, we are the top runner state in the country. If you take note of the electric vehicle growth rate year on year, or if you take note of the rooftop solar growth rate year on year, I think again we are on the top position in the country. We have crossed 1,800 megawatt of solar installation. Therefore, we are very confident that we will be able to take advantage of the literacy and the environmental consciousness of our people and the interest towards going for green energy, and then we will be able to make electric cooking also go in a big way. But once with rooftop solar, with storage options coming in place, we would also like to campaign this particular item in residential sector, so that once storage is put in place through battery storage or through pump storage, the electric cooking, the peak demand strain will not be there. So we can even move towards residential electric cooking. So I will stop now for the time being, and if we have some questions at a later time, I can answer it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harikumar. That was really helpful and very exciting what you're doing in Kerala. Your experience and the learning from that will be really valuable for others, and I'm sure we'll invite you back to talk about that as things progress. And I'm pleased to see people are introducing themselves on the chat, just to remind everyone to do that. We have quite an international audience here, which is always good. The next panelist, I'm going to pronounce his name wrongly, but I'll do my best, is Dr. Mrutyunjay Suar. He's a scientist.
That's the best one. I think perfect. You can call me Jay.
Thank you. You're very kind. He is a scientist and the CEO of KIIT Technology Business Incubator. He has a master's degree in marine biotechnology from Goa University and a PhD in molecular microbiology from the University of Delhi. He also pursued postdoctoral research at ETH in Zurich in Switzerland. He founded the School of Biotechnology at KIIT University and later established the Technology Business Incubator to promote deep tech entrepreneurship. He is a passionate advocate of inclusive innovation, especially in public health technologies, and he's led the KIIT-TBI to incubate over 200 startups and establish a centre of excellence that is supported by DST and the Government of India. So, Dr. Suar, I look forward to your remarks. Hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think thank you, Finovista, and all of you inviting me here. As he said, I'm a scientist, but I'll do the best to tell you what we are doing in the clean cooking. So as he mentioned, I'm also promoting a lot of startup companies. We have few companies getting into different technology towards green or clean cooking. But I represent today three organizations. One is KIIT University, where it's in state of Odisha, 40,000 students. And next to it, we have KISS, Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, also university, which runs for free and for 40,000 tribal children. And that also, so 40,000, 80,000 students in one campus, nearby campuses. Now there to promote clean cooking, because you are very technology oriented, very smart, oriented university. So what we build very large solar systems to fuel our steam cooking best for the KISS. So 40,000 tribal children getting nutritious food or steamed food through the solar-based platforms. So we use 4 of them. So LPG is predominant, and so not a single on the firewood. It's all about LPGs mostly, and also you have got several biogas plants because it's a large university with several big hostels. So you've been using those the waste material to make biogas, and they are running successfully. Of course, not meeting the all demand, but part of it. And we have solar is very huge infra. We have every hostels, the university rooftop is full of solars, and it is getting towards now megawatt scale. And there is also helping our hostel to cook food in more cleaner way. And of course, electricity is a part of it, and which is also contributing in clean cooking. But the bigger the use we do from LPG. Now, why I'm saying all these things, because since long we have been promoting green kind of environment, and that's what the whole university is known for, a very energy efficient building. And similarly, if in cooking also we have been promoting best practices, what we can do, which is sustainable nature. So just imagine in-house captive students is almost close to 60,000. 40,000 or 70,000 students stay in the campus in both the places. So for them, we have set up a very integrated clean cooking platform, which I said for of the technology. Now, as an incubation center, we have also our mandate to promote large number of innovations happening, and that maybe I'll be sharing with Finovista later on. But just to tell you that we have a large BDDC center called Biogas Development Training Center. Our job is to also to go to the rural level, helping community people who are using firewood, how they can get into biogas driven cooking platforms. So there we have been training large number of people in different districts of Odisha and trying to bring some support from government, philanthropy, CSR, and trying to build biogas digesters, biogas plants for the community and for the the rural communities. Now, beyond that, very recently, I think Kerala also part of it, the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, and MNRE, the Renewable Energy the department, they came together to support the green hydrogen-based technology. So they're now supporting 4 green hydrogen valley clusters, and Bhubaneswar, Odisha is one of them, which also I'm part of it, and trying to build the the valley kind of culture here to produce and to consume and to transport. So there also you're going to be part of it to consume it for our, not at the moment for cooking, but for some other vehicles for the mining sector. But in future also you might think of it. So in nutshell, I'm a professor and from the university, which is very bringing a lot of best practices to in a larger kitchen are run by clean cooking concept. And of course, will be much more cleaner once the the green hydrogen and the other solar takes up very completely of this. Now, beyond that, we have organizations called Bhubaneswar City Knowledge Cluster. This is for all the participants that this is a cluster activity by the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India office. And I'm the chairman of the Bhubaneswar City Knowledge Cluster. And there's a very interesting component about, green processes. So under that, we are really, we're very, very, interested to pick up these clean cooking concept. This was very interesting. I learned from Finovista and all of you that we can take up these concepts to really the rural pockets of Odisha and beyond Odisha. We've been working in the east and northeast region of India. And that's what I think we do in the university concept. And it would be also a very, interested to work with some of you who are creating new technology, because the Bhubaneswar City Knowledge Innovation Cluster, which is the mandate to pick up right technology and start deployments or do validations first and then deployment. So we bring in a lot of strategy partners, including the UK government, let's say FCDO. We work with FCDO for 2 different things. And similarly, we work with the other organizations to bring technology on the ground. So I'm just getting a technology from University of Cambridge to a thermal power plant. And similarly, technology from Bhubaneswar getting into Bangalore. So this clean cooking is a very interesting concept. Let me tell you, I was not aware of this, because such kind of community exists for it. And that's what from Nick I learned, that also you being from the FCD or maybe the UK side, you have been supporting such activities. I'll be there to help many of you, because I think this is what the whole world needs, especially India needs. And when you look at our community kitchen in the villages, for example, I also come from a village. You'll be very happy to know in the village also you put up solar, we have put a solar, rooftop solars. Of course, we took a lot of subsidy, unlike what Kerala leadership says, but we have taken it just to help the communities to have better ambience, better green concept. So I'll not speak much because I know there'll be a lot of questions from you, but we are very technology people, but we bring technology to a level of adaptability and scalability so that people start using it. So I'll be very happy to work with some of you who are interested to build new technology in the clean cooking. We can build cohort. Also, you can bring right kind of partnerships and the mentors, including investors. Last month, I was in Switzerland. We just raised first foreign direct investment fund for deep tech startup of India, especially in the sector of blue economy. Of course, the other deep tech startup technology, $5 million fund, which could be now $50 million. I think clean cooking would be an interesting concept to bring more social financing. I know some of them, I'll not disclose here, but they'll be quite interested to help many of you to take your dreams to the deployment level, not only the discussion level. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that generous offer of introductions. I'm really pleased to see that there's a lot of exchanges already going on in the chat with people with different technologies or different needs. So it's a valuable platform, hopefully, for people to benefit from. And I see there's a request for you to share your contact details in the chat. Maybe that would be useful for people.
I'll do that.
Okay. Before I move on, I just want to promote the fact that with Finovista, we're organising the MECS forum on the 26th of September. You'll see there's a registration form in the chat. It's going to be an interesting one because this year we are in the kind of midpoint between when we started here and when we hope to continue to 2030. And we're taking stock, we're consulting a lot of people about what they think the situation on the ground is, the level of infrastructure and the challenges to taking forward expansion of electric cooking and modern energy cooking across India. So we will be reporting on the progress and sharing inputs and ideas. So we hope we'll see many of you at this forum in September. Now, the next speaker is Beryl Onjala. who I have got to know recently as a good friend. As you may or may not be aware, the MECS program is run jointly by Loughborough University and Gamos, which is a consultancy. Gamos has a team out in Kenya, Nairobi, and Beryl is part of that team, the Gamos East Africa team led by John Leary, who many of you may know. And we are now starting to build more of a collaborative model for these webinars, working with the Beryl and her team to identify topics and to make them increasingly international and of interest to a wider audience. Anyway, let's hand over to Beryl. Beryl is a researcher in the energy access space, working at the intersection of electrification and clean cooking, and on the sustainability, inclusiveness and governance of mini-grids in sub-Saharan Africa. She holds an MA in economics from the University of Nairobi and has worked as a research and program officer at several key institutions. And she's been at Gamos East Africa for 2 years. So Beryl, I'm going to hand over to you and invite you to describe the work that you're leading in MECS for on institutional cooking.
Yeah, thank you for that lovely presentation, lovely introduction, Nick. I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, they're coming up. Thank you. You can put it into presentation mode, and then we can see. That's it. Perfect.
Okay, great. Yeah, so as Nick said, I am Beryl Onjala. I'm a research associate working at Gamos East Africa within the Modern Energy Cooking Services program. So MECS has a work stream on commercial, industrial, and institutional cooking, and the work that presenting on today is what we have been doing in Kenya to promote or to scale up demand for institutional e-cooking. So I think in terms of situating the challenges and the current landscape around institutional cooking, Mr. Sinha did a good job before me. So I will move on to talking about more specific issues around the landscape for electric and institutional cooking in Kenya. So in Kenya, just as in most countries that are developing currently, the reliance is mostly on firewood for cooking in institutions. And here we are mostly talking about schools, hospitals, prisons, faith institutions, and the likes. So for Kenya, there was a presidential declaration in 2023 that was geared towards transitioning schools and public facilities from cooking with firewood and with a focus on more clean and modern cooking fuels. So based on this, the Ministry of Education through the National Council for Nomadic Education has also been in parallel designing a carbon project to scale up school feeding by leveraging this transition by institutions to clean cooking. So much of the work in Kenya currently focuses on promoting a shift within schools, and uptake has been slow based on the perceived and actual high cost of electric cooking appliances. There has also been, until very recently, the availability of these appliances has been quite low. With a lot of new entrants into the market, just starting to supply larger scale cooking appliances. There's also the issue of low awareness by stakeholders within institutions on the availability and the gains that could be had from transitioning to clean cooking fuels and technologies. So for Kenya, there's a lot of cooking pilots that we have been conducting. This is since, I think, 2020. So I will focus in on 3 major initiatives that we are doing, just summarizing the pilots that we have been conducting, talking about the work that we are doing around bringing down the cost of cooking through designing an electric cooking tariff, and the learning labs that we're now working to set up along with partners in the sector. So On the electric cooking pilots, we have been piloting the use of electric cooking appliances such as EPCs and e-cookers, along with other partners in the sector. So testing out the viability of cooking with these electric cooking appliances based on the typical menus that are prepared within schools and other institutional facilities. We've also been demonstrating the efficacy of using this in both grid and off-grid regions, just to see what works in which case, because what we say here is that no one solution fits all. We test out a range of appliances along with partners in the sector. So we are as a program, we are technology agnostic. We're a learning program, so working with a range of appliances and manufacturers to see how they perform and whether they are compatible with cooking practices and institutional populations currently. So just to share some overall insights from the testing that we have conducted so far with the different appliances, what we are seeing is that electric cooking is indeed compatible with the cooking that happens in the Kenyan context within institutions. So also testing out the use of solar cooking, for example, we see that there's a lot of potential there with some institutions having transitioned their cooking from firewood to electric cooking. And then I'm preaching to the choir for the most part, but electric cooking we have found to be significantly cheaper than the other traditional counterparts we've tested it against. We've also compared it through CCTs with cooking using LPG, and in both cases we found that there's significant time savings and the cost is reduced quite significantly, especially in the case of long boiling foods. For arid and semi-arid areas, then a key outcome has been that there's lower water consumption overall when we cook using electric cooking appliances over firewood, which is good news, especially for these regions, given the challenges faced in accessing water. So on the electric cooking tariff, we're working within an electric cooking tariff working group led by the Ministry of Energy Petroleum to explore the viability of a dedicated tariff for cooking in households, commercial enterprises, and institutions. So this entails learning from ongoing initiatives nationally and internationally around designing dedicated cooking tariffs. Here we are also going to be piloting a tariff option with commercial and institutional cooking customers to see how that changes their cooking behavior if, say, they got a rebate on the current cooking that they're doing with electricity. Would that lower, or would it have an impact on the demand for electric cooking? Then we're also going to be modeling this to assess the demand stimulation that ensues from it, just to see whether a lower cost of cooking would lead to more demand for electric cooking and hence more revenue for the national utility Kenya Power, who are also part of this technical working group. Lastly, we have the learning labs to address the challenge of the low awareness. Also demonstrating the efficacy of cooking with a range of clean cooking technologies. Here we are testing out EPCs. We are also exploring the viability of cooking with solar and battery-supported cooking. Then there's steam cooking, where steam is going to be generated using electricity. And then we have also paired all this with a briquette stove. So this is through funding from Rockefeller Foundation to just demonstrate that there are cooking solutions available for institutions looking to transition to clean and even modern energy cooking. Just to summarize these, I've used the MECS jigsaw framework to band these together. So looking at issues around the policy environment, issues that need to be addressed within the supply chain and consumer awareness, you'll find that a lot of these tie to what I have already highlighted within the discussion. So looking forward to engaging further on any issues that come up. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Beryl. That's really helpful and a good summary there. As you say, that is a kind of a good set of kind of key topics that people can grapple with, and I'm sure there'll be different issues in particular in different contexts. But the broad thrust of it is probably still applicable everywhere. I see you've got a question about insulating pots, which you may like to respond to in the chat. Just conscious that time is passing. We have one more panelist that I'm keen to introduce and hear from before we open up to discuss the questions that people might have. Our final panelist, by no means not the least, is Dr. Chef Sheraz Nair. Is the co-founder and director of the Bangalore Culinary Academy, where she currently leads the academic department and oversees curriculum development and implementation. She is an internationally certified chef and began her professional journey with the Taj Group of Hotels Management Program, and later held leadership roles at major corporates, gaining expertise in corporate management. At the Bangalore Culinary Academy, she drives strategy, builds affiliations, and develops new concepts for the institution. So I'm sure she's been giving a lot of thought to the topic that we're discussing today. So, Dr. Chef Nair, would you like to give us your statement, please?
Thank you, Nick, for the introduction. Good evening, everybody. I would also like to thank the team at Finovista and the MECS program for inviting me to be part of this important conversation. As someone deeply engaged in culinary education and food systems, I speak today from the perspective of academia, where we train the next generation of chefs, hospitality professionals, and institutional food service leaders. Institutional cooking in India operates on a massive scale, across school meals, temple kitchens, community kitchens like the Akshay Patra, government canteens, hospitals, and the anganwadis. These kitchens feed crores daily and are significant consumers of energy. But despite the scale, the shift towards electric cooking within these spaces is barely underway. While clean energy is a growing priority in policy, in practice, these institutions are still largely relying on LPG, firewood, and biomass. These fuels are seen as familiar and cost-effective, but their hidden costs, which include health risks, air pollution, long-term operational inefficiencies, are rarely acknowledged or integrated into planning. From an academic standpoint, this is partially a reflection of how we train our people. Our culinary and vocational education systems do not adequately introduce students or working professionals to electric cooking technologies, especially at scale. Most training programs focus on gas burners, coal-fired tandoors, or LPG-based equipment. So when these students enter institutional kitchens, they are not equipped to use or advocate for electric systems. This becomes a barrier to adoption. Even when clean technology is available to them, institutions often hesitate. Their staff aren't trained. Maintenance support is unclear. Their limited understanding of how to modify operations to suit electric systems is a barrier. To change this, demand creation for e-cooking must be coupled with educational reform. As academics, we must revise curricula to reflect new realities. Students should be exposed to energy-efficient electric equipment, not just for small-scale use, but for bulk cooking environments. Training must include modules on energy management, equipment lifestyle costs, and safety protocols for electric kitchens. Equally, academia has a role in research and documentation. While there are isolated pilot projects using electric or solar-powered cooking in temple kitchens or school feeding schemes, these need to be studied further, reviewed, translated into actionable learning. We also need to bring financial models and infrastructure planning into our teaching. Concepts like pay as you cook, credit-linked appliance accesses, or cluster-based procurement should become part of the food service and public health syllabi. And finally, as educators, we must advocate for cleaner, safer, and more dignified kitchen environments. Electric cooking is not just about emission, it's also about reduced heat stress, cleaner air, greater operational predictability. To summarize, from the viewpoint of academia, I would say we must train professionals who see electric cooking not just as an alternative, but as the norm. We must support transition with skills and not just equipment. And we must treat institutional kitchens as public infrastructure deserving of investment, innovation, and care. Thank you again to the MECS program and Finovista for this space. I look forward in engaging further in today's discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for being so concise in your remarks. Okay, so I've not seen very many questions, just looking back to see if I've missed anything. One thing that I think will be a topic that I'd be interested in is the state of the kind of cooking appliance world for institutions. And I guess we're looking at the demand side here and establishing that there is considerable opportunity and need. But maybe as Chef Nair was saying, that the issue is, you need to start by training people when they're first learning their skills. But it seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that learning to cook on a flame is a kind of it puts the emphasis on the skill of the chef to kind of make that work to best effect for different types of dish and different types of product. Whereas when you move to electric appliances, they can be often quite specialised for different purposes, and then you're in a different kind of situation. You have to learn how to use multiple devices to perform different functions and how to move between them. So I'd be interested in people's observations, particularly our panellists, regarding how they see people choosing the best appliance and then sort of testing it. Because institutions, well, any operation that's cooking for a large number can't afford to have a period of sort of downtime and, working, with new devices where they're not very confident, because it's all very rapid and under pressure. So how do you manage that process of kind of identifying the best appliances, trying them out, training people, and then moving it into operational use? Has anyone got any experience they'd like to share of that? Doesn't look like we're getting a response. Would anyone like to put their hand up? No? Okay. Beryl, I'm going to put you on the spot. Don't know if you were going to turn your camera on or not. Looks like were you going to respond, Beryl?
Yes, so just from the perspective of an organization that helps or works with institutions to scope for suitable appliances, then one of the things that we have looked at is just designing based on the menus and also looking at the student population, or in this case, the population that is cooked for within the institutions. So we make sure that this is optimized for the specific ones that we select by doing actual assessments with a range of manufacturers that we're working with currently. So have them design systems based on the characteristics of the institutions right from the get-go, and then also make provisions for potential growth in the population that is being cooked for. Something else on the downtimes, I think an issue that we have faced a lot is, or to a degree, is say electricity access, which I know is a challenge across the board. So then in this case, we are in the process of working out collaborations with the national utility in order to make sure that any issues are caught and addressed in time, because then you can't tell students that there were challenges with electricity access and which limited the cooking. So then in that case, work out such kinds of arrangements with them so that issues are addressed in time.
Okay, that's a really good idea. If you can actually get a good conversation going with the utility provider so they can prioritize maintaining the flow of electricity to the school. In India, I know there's a lot of interest in kind of combining solarization and the generation of solar-based power on institutions, on the roofs, with a switch to e-cooking. So they're kind of trying to meet two needs at once, kind of renewable energy generation and clean cooking. So that's another way of kind of balancing and managing the risks of the system going down. We have two questions that I'd just like to put to the panelists. One is about the use of insulated pots or insulating pots to retain the heat of cooked products. Is that something that any of you have considered or built into your programs? And the second question yeah, go on.
In fact, for the anganwadis program in Kerala, we have given them insulated boxes for cooking rice. So once the water gets boiled and the rice is put inside, the person who is cooking, he takes the entire vessel with the rice, with the water and the rice, and put it inside the insulated box. So Kerala rice require about 30 to 45 minutes minimum to get it cooked. So within 30 to 45 minutes, it stays inside the insulated box and it gets cooked. So to reduce your energy consumption, yes. We have incorporated insulating pots also in our electric cooking program. Thank you.
Great. Yes, and I think in Africa they're referred to as wonder bags. You get these padded things that you can put your pot in. The cooking can carry on. In case anyone else wants to reply. But then there is another question, which is a very different one. It's about technical support or sort of backup provision when you have institutions that are starting to cook with electricity. Is that something that anyone has had to put in place in their programs? Yep.
See, for the large scale cooking, we have the annual maintenance contract put in place, and for small scale, this anganwadi cooking, yes, we have the warranty scheme and the service support from the OEMs, original equipment manufacturers.
Okay. And from the point of view of the supply side, I know that one of the companies that we've worked with that service hotels with electric cooking appliances, they make a point of only going into a region or a state on a kind of focused way. So they make sure that there's a presence of engineers within the region for maybe 6 months, and then they move on to another state. They don't kind of spread themselves too thinly across the whole of India. And I guess it's about kind of making efficient use of what is still going to be quite a limited capacity and kind of scaling up gradually. Now then, I'm looking at another question that's come through. In most institutional settings where electricity supply is not a challenge, would it not be a case of costs? If we're able to show that the operating costs are lower than LPG, behavioural change will be automatic. There we are. What are the barriers to change when the economics are very clearly in favour of electric cooking? Would anyone like to give some of their experience of the challenges?
See, the major challenge, what we have found is the mindset and the behavior, the attitude, because for the last few more than 30-40 years, people are seeing this flame, and the electric cooking, when we resort to it, is a flameless cooking, and people have their own doubts and concerns whether the taste will be good, whether it gets properly cooked. Therefore, the awareness campaign and the piloting is very much essential, so that we can make case studies and make people aware that it is there is no change. Only thing, the input energy is the source of energy is different, and the quality remains the same.
Indeed. I'm conscious of time, so we've spent an hour. I'm going to carry on. Those of you who need to leave for other things can do so, but I'm keen to maintain the discussion. What I was going to sort of add to that is that in any organisation where there is cooking, there will be different players and different stakeholders. So there may be someone who is a manager who's responsible for finances and who has to pay the price of the LPG, but they will not generally be the chef. And the chef themselves have to be comfortable with the change. They're the ones that are delivering the meals every day under pressure to the customers. So I can see the need to convince everyone in that ecosystem that this is a good thing, and they will have different concerns and different needs that need to be addressed. It's a little bit like in a household where maybe the woman is the cook but the man holds the purse strings. Both sides need to be as keen on the investment, because it is a big change for everyone. Beryl, you want to put your hand up and offer a further comment?
Yes, and I just wanted to add to that around the challenges and why it's not a no-brainer in this case. An issue that we have also identified is the upfront cost of procuring these appliances for institutions, which I think there's some inertia in that regard, where once they have fitted kitchens with particular technologies and fuels, then it's a bit of work getting them to then transition to more modern forms of cooking fuels. So in this case, an approach that we are looking at is exploring the different financing options for appliances, especially electric cooking, just to see how these institutions can be supported in addressing that initial cost of the appliances.
Indeed, and again, just to kind of build on that, as well as the cost of the appliance, as Beryl was saying, there's a kind of retrofitting that may need to go on to the cooking environment, and that again creates downtime, it creates potential risks for the organisation. Another point that we have considered in MECS the differences between institutional cooking with commercial cooking. In a commercial setup, maybe there's more of a focus on the sort of bottom line, they can afford to invest, and if there's a saving to be made, then they're always happy to do that. In an institutional setting, there may be also other stakeholders in terms of who owns the building and who supplies gas or electricity, and they need to be on site as well. So it's a different kind of organisational context. There's a question that's come through about resistance cooking. Is that more efficient if the heater is attached to the pot than induction cooking? Has anyone looked specifically at that? No, I think I know MECS has looked at steam-based cooking, and as Beryl said, electric pressure cookers and what we refer to as e-cookers. I'm less familiar with the different types of technology that work at this scale. Would anyone like to expand on the kind of range that they're seeing with different pros and cons? Okay. There's another question that's come through about solar cooking and how that brings maybe particular challenges for large-scale institutional cooking. And has anyone got any observations about the adoption of solar-based cooking for schools, larger institutions than the anganwadis? I know that's going on in some states, probably in Kerala as well.
We use solar grid-connected rooftop power plants for anganwadis, Therefore, when the solar rooftop is connected to the grid, there is no link directly between the end-use loads inside the building. This acts as a small generator which generates electricity and feed it to the grid. So that your electricity cost will come down.
Yes, I think you're.
As of now, for grid-connected cooking, there is no particular challenge. Only thing, suppose the grid fails, if you are using not a hybrid inverter without storage, though you have installed solar grid-connected power plant, you will not get electricity inside the building. Therefore, if there is challenge with your grid, then you have to think about battery storage option or hybrid inverters.
Okay, that's good. So we're getting some people putting their hands up, so I'm going to invite them to speak in order in which they're putting their hands up. So Richard Opoku has put his hand up. Would you like to make a comment, Richard? I think you're muted at the moment. Sorry, can't hear you.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Nick?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, so this is Richard Opoku from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana, West Africa.
Yes.
And yes, I wanted to share some of our experiences on institutional solar cooking, where we are using solar energy as the main energy source for the cooking. Hello?
Hello, yep.
Nick, are you able to hear me?
It has come and gone. We can hear you at the moment. So you're using solar energy as the main source of power for cooking in Ghana.
Yes, so we have set up 4 prototypes in senior high schools where they are cooking for large volumes of students over 1,000. So for each school, we have students over 1,000, and we have even put up a publication and could share the link for the publication so that those who are interested can read. But in a special case of our technology, we are using sand as thermal energy storage material. So usually we store heat in the sand and then we use it to do steam cooking in these secondary schools.
Okay, and that's working, is it? You're having success with your pilots?
Yes, exactly. Yes, we have done a lot of cooking, and I can show you pictures, videos of those cooking technologies.
Great. Okay, and I think you said you're putting a link in the chat. I've not seen that yet.
So I'll put that. Yes, I'm going to do so right away.
All right. Thanks, Richard. Okay, and then we have Shaligram Soni, who raised their hand and wants to speak. Can you unmute yourself, Shaligram? I think you're still muted. Hello, hi. Can't hear you yet, but we can see you. Sorry, we're still not able to hear you, I think. Okay. I don't know if there's a problem with your system at your end, but I'm certainly not hearing or seeing you. You try again? I can't hear you, so I'm sorry. Maybe you can make some comments in the chat if there's a contribution you make, or link us to something. So I'm looking at the discussion. There's one, Larry Schlussler, it says to make solar economical, it should be combined with retained heat cooking. So this is he was asking the question about insulation and the benefits of storing the heat in the actual pot that you're cooking in. I think that certainly helps to make the energy use, reduce the energy use if you can manage that. There may be other ways of applying that concept of retained heat cooking. I don't know if Larry wants to expand on that comment. And then I'm looking at a comment from Hari Natarajan. Sorry, the sound quality is really poor, I'm afraid. Yeah, so I really couldn't. I'm sorry, is that Shaligram? I'm not really hearing you, I'm afraid. I think, Larry, you were putting your hand up. Do you want to try expand on your comment about insulation and retained heat?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Go for it.
We're working on a system where you would have an insulating cover over the pot, and then when the pot starts boiling, the steam is sensed and it automatically turns off the electrical supply. So you could use it for cooking beans or a whole variety of things, and it eliminates mixing. It eliminates. I saw a lot of pots there in a row which not insulated. That might be putting a tremendous amount of heat into the environment. So insulating a pot, it reduces labor because it also reduces the need for mixing. And with a large pot, the length of time you can keep the pot hot is dependent on the amount of thermal mass in the pot, which is the weight of the contents and the amount of insulation. So with institutional cooking, it would be possible to prepare your food, bring it to a boil the day before, having it insulated, and then it'll be ready and hot to eat the next morning without the use of any additional energy. If anyone's interested in that concept, they could contact me. Okay,
and that sounds, I know electric pressure cookers work on a similar basis, that there's power consumption up to the point where the contents of the pot reach the pressure and temperature that is desired, then the power can cut off and only then kind of pulse when it needs to maintain that temperature and pressure. But yeah, so that would be similar.
The difference is an electric pressure cooker isn't really insulated. It has a hollow wall with no insulation, and it's not insulated to keep the food hot for a long period of time. Also, an electric pressure cooker uses more energy because it has to heat the food up to a higher temperature than the boiling point. So the extra rigid structure, which is fairly heavy around the pressure cooker to keep it from exploding, and the food itself has to be heated to a higher temperature than the boiling point. So this takes additional energy. And then when you release the pressure from the pressure cooker, all the steam comes out. The extra energy it took to cook the food and raise it above the boiling point is all released in that steam.
Oh, right. Interesting. Okay, I think Simon Batchelor he was listening in, so he's much better placed to respond to those technical comments than I am. But it sounds like an interesting system you're developing. Where are you doing that, Larry?
We're in California, Arcata, California, and my company is called Sun Frost, 2 words.
Oh, okay. And have you put a link or anything in the chat? It'd be great for people to be able to follow that up.
Okay.
Okay. Would anyone else like to make... Yes, sorry, go on. I'm going to kind of draw us to a close, unless anyone else wants to offer a final comment or an offer of help or assistance. Other than that, I encourage you again all to sign up for the MEC Forum on the 26th of September. It's an increasingly international gathering. We're expecting to have people from the World Bank and SE for All, as well as our partners in India. And it's a growing opportunity for people to come together and form the community that we're building around electric cooking and to see some of the latest innovations as well. There's always a good exhibition, and we're expecting that with class we'll be demonstrating some of the Global Leap Awards from the induction competition that was carried out recently. So, registration link is in the chat, and thank you all for your time and attention. I hope you found it helpful, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. See you.